The early 70s, when musicians didn't throw drinks at each other in nightclubs, they wrote entire diss tracks instead. This is the story of a long-haired Canadian named Neil Young and a bunch of Southern boys named Lynyrd Skynyrd, and a musical feud that started with a protest, peaked with a guitar solo, and ended with hugs, respect, and questionable facial hair. Let's break it down, y'all. It all starts with Neil Young, who in 1970 released Southern Man, a fiery, no-holds-barred critique of racism in the American South. He doubled down in 1972, which was basically Southern Man, the spicier sequel. These weren't subtle songs, they were direct, blunt, and deeply uncomfortable for some listeners. Young wasn't even attacking everyone in the South, but he definitely didn't sprinkle in a lot of nuance. The lyrics painted the region with a pretty broad, angry brush, and down in Jacksonville, Florida, a band of rising rockers thought, hey, wait a second, not cool, Canada. Enter Lynyrd Skynyrd, and their soon-to-be hit single with one of the most iconic riffs of all time. Sweet Home Alabama drops in 1974 like a hot biscuit on a cold morning. On the surface, it's a feel-good Southern anthem, but slide into verse 2 and bam, there it is. Then comes the dagger, delivered with a smile. It wasn't full-on war, it was more of a musical side-eye. Think of it as a sassy clapback delivered via a Les Paul. The band was pushing back on Neil's generalization, saying, hey man, we live here, it's complicated. Maybe ask us before writing the soundtrack to our guilt. Oh, and they made it a hit, like massive. Sweet Home Alabama still plays at every barbecue, dive bar, sporting event, whatever, where someone is probably wearing cargo shorts.
Hell yeah!
Now here's the twist. Neil wasn't mad. In fact, he loved Sweet Home Alabama. He thought it was catchy, clever, and fair. He even admitted that his own lyrics in Alabama may have been too harsh. Skynyrd, for their part, didn't hate Neil either. They wore Neil Young t-shirts in concert and openly admired his songwriting. Ronnie Van Zant, the band's late frontman, even considered doing a song with Neil before his untimely death. So instead of rockstar ego wars, we got what might be the most well-mannered feud in music history. No lawsuits, no diss tracks, stacked with expletives, just mutual jabs and mutual admiration. In fact, when Neil heard about the plane crash that killed Van Zant and other band members in 1977, he was devastated. He stopped performing Alabama and Southern Man live for years afterward, out of respect. This whole musical standoff has become part of rock legend, but let's be real, it was never about hate. It was about dialogue through guitars with flair. It showed that music can be a conversation, even when it gets heated. Neil challenged the South. Skynyrd responded proudly, but not cruelly. And somehow both sides walked away with career-defining songs, millions of fans, and the ability to laugh about it decades later. That's a win-win. Also, fun fact, Neil Young once said he wished he had written Sweet Home Alabama. That's how much of a banger it was. So the next time you hear Sweet Home Alabama or Southern Man, remember it wasn't a feud. It was a funky guitar-fueled debate between artists who respected each other. And they also knew how to throw lyrical shade like the pros. Hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into music's messiest and weirdest moments. And let us know in the comments, whose side are you on, Neil or Skynyrd or both? Either way, turn it up.